Thank you, Mr. Chair. In response to comments made by the ABMP representative, the committees may want to know that ABMP is an out-of-state business owned by an individual that sells insurance policies to massage professionals. ABMP is not a nonprofit organization. ABMP is a business. Even though ABMP's customers are referred to as members, they don't vote for their chairman. They don't vote for ABMP's policies or their board. They have no control of ABMP's business. The views presented are private opinions and cannot necessarily be regarded as the views of massage professionals in California, since this is a Colorado company. The data in the Sunset Report is clear. CMTC's structure allows it to impose swift discipline in a cost-effective manner. In this, as in many areas, California is on the leading edge, and the legislature should be commended for its creation of an innovative model that works. Instead of complaining that CMTC doesn't follow the existing old model of mandatory state licensure, we should be celebrating the accomplishments of this new model and congratulating the legislature for their wisdom in taking this new approach. The suggestion made to simply import a regulatory model used by other states in the last century misses the point entirely. And I'd like to say a little word, since I heard the word transparency come up so many times.
Can we wait?
I'll wait on that.
Can we address San Francisco and then
San Francisco's response, yeah.
The board issues raised by San Francisco are a red heading, steering focus away from the real issue, which is local government regulation of massage businesses and whether that regulation is reasonable and imposes only necessary fees. Local government is in full control of CAMTC's board, with 7 of the 13 seats on the board being held by local officials. There are a number of inaccuracies in the San Francisco statements that I'd like to point out. First of all, San Francisco first provided CAMTC information about one certificate holder in late 2013, and I spent over 6 months trying to track down the arresting officer. The public health department didn't even know who it was. There was no charges filed even after an arrest for a sexual act. It took us 6 months to track that officer down and get information. The second batch of information about certificate holders was not obtained until October 2014, when CAMTC's Director of Professional Standards Division was required to fly to San Francisco to obtain the information. Thirdly, no CAMTC staff member has ever become a board member, so the statement in their letter is just false. Should I go on to the regulatory? So in response to statement about CAMTC's regulatory process, the request for improved communication is baffling since we regularly communicate with local jurisdictions. Since inception, we've sent more than 1.2 million emails to cities and counties and send an average 10 emails per individual every time they apply for certification and 2 years later when they apply for recertification. CAMTC also notifies by email every city and county where a certificate holder lives or works currently or within the last 10 years, every time it suspends, revokes, or takes disciplinary action against them. Our investigators communicate with law enforcement and local government personnel on a daily basis. We have also communicated with police chiefs, sheriffs, and recently city managers in the state, and repeatedly offer no-cost training. We have the government and law enforcement database that we've talked about, which has been in existence since before the last Sunset Review and provides up-to-date information on applicants and certificate holders with a separate section for law enforcement and government personnel. I attend almost every city council meeting in San Francisco, many city council meetings pertaining to massage, and personally attend meetings for the San Francisco Human Trafficking Task Forces. CAMTC's communications to cities and counties are robust. The request for a CAMTC maintained database is again baffling. There is such a database, as I said, specifically created for law enforcement and government personnel access, which has been operational since before the last sunset. That was created from the very start. We had a local government law enforcement advisory committee and who had tremendous input into what they wanted to see on that secure area. In relation to the request for improved response time and confirmation of materials related to illegal activity, CAMTC's discipline numbers are outstanding and incredibly swift. San Francisco, as I said, only started sending information about potential disciplinary matters in 2014, and given the small number of matters they've sent, are hardly in a position to comment on our process. In relation to CAMTC taking an active approach to sex trafficking, local jurisdictions like San Francisco are the only ones with authority over the massage businesses, the only ones that can shut down these establishments. Yet San Francisco repeatedly opts not to do so. CAMTC has taken an aggressive role on this issue in a manner appropriate for its legal authority by unapproving fraudulent schools that issue fake diplomas, by recommending a seat for an anti-human trafficking organization on our board, and by engaging with a large number of national and local anti-human trafficking task forces and organizations.
Can I ask you, Ms. May, you mentioned that San Francisco have they intentionally and not aggressively gone after or closed down establishments that you've determined to be engaged in human trafficking in some form?
Well, as I said, we don't have authority over establishments.
Right, but you've identified some, perhaps?
No, in fact, San Francisco, as far as I know, has not identified any establishments since 2004, when there was a federal operation, Operation Gilded Cage, that located some human trafficking. I don't believe they've identified any known victims within a massage setting, and they work from the assumption that every woman in a massage environment, and the police actually made this comment, that they consider every woman in a massage environment to be a trafficking victim, and because they want to protect them, they don't ever file charges. If they issue citations, they always drop them, and they fine the owners.
Okay, thank you. Other responses? Yes, of course. Please.
I'm Jill England, General Counsel. I appreciate your comments earlier about that we need to stick to the real issues and not the board and operational issues. But I do want to comment on a couple of things stated by the League, just for the record. We are a private nonprofit corporation. As far as removing board members, we are allowed to put pretty much whatever provision we want in our bylaws about that. We have a bylaw provision on the removal of directors, which complies with the California Nonprofit Public Benefit Corporation Code. That's what we have to comply with. We've never used it in 7 years. We would never use it. As long as I'm counsel, it would never be used except in a very extreme case where there was good cause to remove someone. And it is compliant with the law. The second one that Mr. McKenzie brought up, I'm not sure where he gets this. He's concerned about vacancy filling. Our bylaws are clear. Section 5, Article 5, Section 5C is clear that if a member ever was removed, the appointing entity would, of course, make the appointment to fill that vacancy. There would be no prejudice to the appointing entity. If we ever remove someone, they could immediately appoint someone else. There'd be no prejudice to that appointing entity. Mr. McKenzie made an issue of training on the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. We agree it's extremely important. We have always followed that. Obviously, that's in our law. I didn't say this when I spoke the first time, but my background is 25 years advising nonprofit organizations. That's why I was hired to help with CMTC. I have about 90 nonprofits that I'm general counsel for, and 10 of those, besides CMTC, have to comply with the Open Meeting Act. So I have 25 years of experience advising my clients on complying with the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. I'm probably well-versed to train them and to keep them safe from violating the act, and I think I've done that. Actually, in 25 years, I've never had any of my clients challenged on the Open Meeting Act, and CMTC's never been challenged on the Open Meeting Act other than this past year by the league. That's all the rebuttals I had. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing that.
And may I address one issue that was also raised by the league, and that was requiring CMTC to comply with the Public Records Act. CMTC is a private nonprofit corporation. It's not a state agency. It's not subject to the Public Records Act. The requested legislative change would stop information flowing from cities and counties to CMTC. This would harm all of the cities that the league says that they represent. This information flows from cities and counties to CMTC. It is their sensitive information that would be the subject of these Public Record Act requests. And this is the information we would be required to disclose. Were we required to disclose that, I think we would see very quickly that cities and counties would stop sharing that information with us. We'd be unable to prosecute essentially violations of our law without the information on the conduct-based violations that we deal with day in and day out. So what they're asking for would very much harm public protection. It would open the floodgates for human traffickers. It would in every way hurt the public and CMTC. Additionally, responding to Public Records Act requests requires a significant amount of attorney and staff time to review documents and appropriately respond. That is a very large financial and administrative burden that should not be placed on the backs of the certificate holders who are paying the biannual fee for certification. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Other responses? Yes.
Just a word, I've heard the word transparency come up from a few of the speakers prior to this, this panel, and especially from the League. I find it surprising that the League of California Cities would make derogatory and false statements about CMTC's board, inasmuch as local government is in full control of the board. They have a majority of 7 out of 13 members are from city and county governments. At the last board meeting, the League's appointee made a motion to repeal the board's 2014 duty of loyalty resolution, which didn't pass. It seems inappropriate that they're now seeking a legislative change on the same issue in an effort to circumvent the board's decision over a motion that didn't pass. CMTC is a highly transparent organization that goes beyond the requirements of the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. CMTC posts meetings of notice and agendas in advance on its website in 10 days at least, including the specific time, location, and topics to be discussed. CMTC posts board packets, materials for meetings on its website prior to the meetings. CMTC posts meeting minutes on the website after the meetings, as soon as they're approved. CMTC makes audio recordings of its meetings and makes the recordings available on its website. CMTC makes tax returns available to the public and lists individual board member email addresses on its website. All those points, posting meetings, posting board packets, meeting minutes afterwards, tax returns, audio recordings, and individual board members' email addresses would be questions well addressed to the League of California Cities.
And lastly, I'd like to, or maybe my colleague has some comments to make, but I'd like just to respond to a couple of issues that Mr. McKinsey mentioned. First of all, he said that he requested information and it was denied to him. That's not true. What he requested was that staff of CMTC will send to the League the resumes of people who are applying to the board before it was even sent to the board, before it became public. And the good news is that all my exchanges with Mr. McKinsey were all in email, and I will print them, and I will provide it to the committee so you can see the exact exchange of what was requested and how we responded. Once all the resumes were compiled and put together into a board packet, the League received it electronically the same moment the public and the entire board received it. The other request that was made was the email addresses of the new board members who are coming on board. CMTC has a protocol, and that is we ask new board members to authorize CMTC in releasing the emails. We don't know which email they would like us to use. So my response was that I'll be happy to share that. Actually, matter of fact, we actually place all these email addresses on our website. But once we get the authorization from these board members, and I was not under any, I did not have the authority to release that prior to receiving the authorization from these individuals. And lastly, I think it's very interesting that the league is mentioning how unusual it is for cities to work with nonprofits. The league actually wrote the book about nonprofit organizations. They actually put together an entire manual explaining and educating cities about the power of developing separate nonprofit organizations to be used by local government and the various benefits, including not being subject to the PRA. So I think it's very interesting that the cities are not used to it when they actually put together an entire manual educating cities on how to do it.
That is very interesting. Very good. Thank you very much for any other response, Mr. Callaghan? Nothing? Nothing? Thank you very much for the feedback on the comments. And now I'd like to invite, there's some organizations and groups and individuals who have been, as groups, supportive of the council's work and their continued efforts in certifying massage therapists. So I've been provided with a list of names of individuals. If you could come forward as quickly as possible, and then we would move on with some brief comments from all of you. I think it's Shauna Faber, the Assistant City Attorney for the City of Vacaville, Carol Shipley, Stanislaus Family Justice Center, Stephanie Powell, PhD, Executive Director, Journey Out, Tony Siakotis, Government Relations Chair, American Massage Therapy Association, California Chapter, Keith Grant, Representative Hands On Trade Association and Independent Massage Schools Association of California, Rhonda Cutter, Massage Advisory Committee, San Rafael, Adam Gordon, San Francisco Massage Advisory Committee, Karen Bollinger, faculty, CMT faculty, Massage Therapy Program, De Anza College, and Andrew Garston, Regional Developer, Massage Envy. Thank you all for coming, and if you could give us a fairly brief, if you can, this morning, some comments, and we'd really appreciate it. And we'll start right there. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Hill, Chairman Salas, Chairman members, as well as staff. My name is Dr. Stephanie Powell. I'm the Executive Director for Journey Out. We are a nonprofit organization that assists victims of human trafficking. Prior to my leadership at Journey Out, I served 30 years as a sergeant in the Los Angeles Police Department. I just retired 3 years ago. My last 5 years in law enforcement, I was the officer in charge of the Vice Unit. Through my eyes as a law enforcement officer and now as a leader of a nonprofit, I have witnessed the inhumanity of human trafficking. It is necessary for the CAMTC to stay a private nonprofit organization for the purpose of a speedy response to investigations. The quick response helps to discourage illegal massage businesses to flourish and make the legal professionals think twice about becoming illegal. A speedy response to human trafficking can save lives. A speedy response can help to sustain and maintain the credibility and responsibility of the massage profession. Public safety is confidently being maintained through the efforts of CAMTC. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. We'll move right down the row and then come right back there. If you can just take that microphone there.
Good morning. Chairman Salas, Chairman Hill, members of the Joint Committee and staff. My name is Tony Siakotis. I'm the Government Relations Chair for the California Chapter of the American Massage Therapy Association. The AMTA is a 501c6 nonprofit professional association. We are the country's largest nonprofit association representing massage therapy professionals. Thank you very much for your time today. I'm surprised to discover there are still a few issues yet to be discussed, so I'm going to try to get to those as quickly as possible in respect for your time. First, I'm here today to speak in support for the continuation of CAMTC's certification of practitioners and its programs to approve massage schools. The AMTA also asks for your support in creating a Massage Therapy Act that supports the right of certified massage professionals to open and maintain their businesses. Since the passage of AB 1147 in September of 2014, the massage profession has witnessed a proliferation of discriminatory and punitive massage ordinances throughout the state of California. The first wave of these ordinances involved the imposition of moratoria in 52 cities across California. 25 of these remain in force today, most extending to the maximum 2 years allowed under law. And while most jurisdictions followed the requirements of AB 1147 and removed their massage ordinances from the adult entertainment section of their municipal codes, they transposed most or all of the requirements of those adult entertainment ordinances to their new massage establishment ordinances. These ordinances completely deny the economic realities of massage therapy businesses, and as the adult entertainment ordinances before them are designed to regulate prostitution and human trafficking instead of massage therapy. Some combination of these types of requirements, and I'm not going to enumerate the ones that Beverly May has already enumerated, along with a handful of other questionable restrictions, are currently in place in 189 cities and counties across California. The population of all of these jurisdictions combined is approximately 24 million people. That is over 60% of California's population of 38 million. Factoring out for the less costly, though still insulting ordinances, or provisions rather, there are still 123 cities with ordinance requirements that put the ability to open and maintain a massage establishment beyond the reach of most massage therapists. The combined population of these cities is just shy of 17 million. About 45%, almost half of the population of California, has had their access to massage therapy services obstructed by these ordinances because massage therapists can't afford to open or maintain a place to work. In 2015, the average annual income for a massage therapist, including tips, was estimated to be $24,519 nationally. That's from a survey that the AMTA National Office does every year. To adjust for California's higher cost of living, let us say that your constituent massage therapists make average gross earnings of about $36,000. If you start to selectively increase the startup costs of opening a business above those required for other businesses, you very quickly outrun the financial resources of the typical massage therapists. Even if you put a bunch of them under one roof into one establishment, the shared overhead doesn't really mitigate the damage that these costs do. Okay. Certainly not enough that we can afford 6 months' rent on an empty office waiting for a use permit or an establishment permit fee in the thousands of dollars, sometimes imposed on every individual rather than the practice as a whole. Other businesses for which conditional use permittings are the norm, restaurants and retail establishments, can expect a much higher return when they finally open than we can expect in our profession. These kinds of barriers are insurmountable for most massage therapists, and very importantly, they are not imposed on other Division II healing arts professionals. Which brings us to this. Why are all these regulations necessary in the first place? It is certainly not because therapeutic massage professionals require complicated oversight. We have been told over and over again that all these costly barriers are necessary because of the constant threat of prostitution and human trafficking that take place in quote-unquote massage parlors. A massage parlor is a brothel. These regulatory structures are needed for brothels, not massage businesses, yet they are imposed on our businesses. Over the last few years, you've been told a story about a profession with no moral or ethical compass, and a story of local governments helpless before the uncontrollable spread of crime committed by its practitioners. This story is a fiction. The foundation of this story is built on this idea. Members of the massage profession are always just one step away from slipping into prostitution. Therefore, city officials and law enforcement need to control our profession with an iron fist, lest our profession and their communities sink into depravity and decay. So I want to establish this first and foremost. The massage profession is not morally compromised. Massage and prostitution are not shared points on any axis, and illicit massage is not any kind of massage at all. Bad actors are not members of our profession. They are imposters from whom we deserve as much protection as every other citizen that local governments have been willing to sacrifice the viability and good name of our profession to protect. While While law enforcement is rightly concerned when they find a prostitute in possession of a CAMTC certificate, they are aware of the circumstances that led to this problem and have yet to demonstrate that this circumstance is the rule rather than the exception in their anti-prostitution efforts. Professional massage therapists maintain clear boundaries about sexual misconduct. We take our ethical obligations very seriously for the safety of our clients and of ourselves. Which brings us to this. Our local government's helpless. Mr. McKenzie in his testimony referred to this as a crisis. During the 2014 sunset hearings, city government and law enforcement officials argued that they had lost the ability to address the problem of prostitution and human trafficking hiding as massage business because they were hobbled by the law. Specifically, they argued that criminals hid behind the establishment exemption provided for under SB 731 and amended by AB 619. For those of you that may not be familiar, the establishment exemption prevented local jurisdictions from enforcing adult entertainment ordinances against any massage business where every massage professional that worked there was certified by CAMTC. Every massage professional. 10 therapists, 10 CAMTC certificate holders, you get an exemption. 10 therapists, 9 CAMTC certificate holders meant that the establishment was not exempt from the local entertainment ordinance. Once brothels obtained this exemption, city officials and law enforcement claimed they were powerless. The phrase they liked was, their hands were tied. So we tried to find out how broad this problem was. There was not much data in the 2014 sunset hearing testimony that broke this down. While officials from San Francisco, Huntington Beach, Torrance, Simi Valley, and Los Angeles all testified that the number of massage parlors in their jurisdictions had increased dramatically, none of them distinguished the number of those establishments that claimed the exemption or the number they thought might actually represent massage businesses rather than brothels. The first useful set of information we found was contained in a 2013 report on licensing and regulation of massage establishments in San Francisco, published by the San Francisco Department of Public Health. So this is my visual aid. This is a map of San Francisco, and on it are marked the locations of massage establishments. This next paragraph is directly from this report. Quote, as of August 2013, there are 154 active massage establishments permitted through the San Francisco Department of Public Health. There are 62 massage establishments that are exempt from SFDPH's permitting process because all practitioners that work in the establishments are certified by CAMTC. Figure 1 represents the 216 known massage establishments in San Francisco. Out of 216 total massage establishments, 154 establishments were completely unaffected by the exemption established in AB 619 since they made no claim to this exemption. This means that San Francisco could have taken their efforts to fight human trafficking into ordinance without waiting for the passage of AB 1147. They could have exercised regulatory control over 70% of their massage parlor problem at any time. They also had the right to use health code or criminal enforcement where they deemed it necessary over the remaining 62 establishments. This included the right to verify that establishments were staffed solely by CAMTC certificate holders and to penalize or close those businesses that claimed the exemption fraudulently. The Massage Therapy Act specifically affirmed their right to do this, whether city officials took advantage of it or not. So we thought maybe this would represent a similar percentage breakdown in massage establishments in other cities. AMTA California sent public records requests to several of the cities whose problems were described in 2014 hearing testimony. We asked for copies of all massage establishment permits active in 2013 and 14 and asked which of those had claimed the CAMTC massage establishment exemption. This is what we got back. From Huntington Beach, no exemptions were requested. From San Gabriel, no massage business has asked for or been granted a waiver. From Simi Valley, please be advised that there are no records responsive to your request. And from Torrance, the city has not granted any exemption to any business and does not have any record of who claimed exemption. Okay, last page. Cities claimed they couldn't act. The truth is they didn't act. The establishment exemption could not have been responsible for their proliferation problem because according to these public records responses, they never granted any. Yet even if they had, Every version of the Massage Therapy Act since its creation provides some specific rights to local jurisdictions to shut down commercial sex businesses. City governments and law enforcement abdicated their responsibilities to use the tools available to them to protect the public, a public that includes massage therapists and their clients, and then blamed the criminal proliferation that resulted on the massage profession and the CAMTC, neither of whom ever had any authority over massage establishments or the ability to create ordinances and enforcement regimes that would have prevented that proliferation. Mr. McKenzie asks us to wait a few years. In a few years, there may be very few massage establishments left to regulate. Last paragraph. AMTA California rejects the false choice between draconian land use regulations that punish massage professionals and the unchecked spread of prostitution and human trafficking. We firmly believe that there is a reasonable way to allow CAMTC certified professionals to practice and provide local jurisdiction with the tools they need to prevent and fight criminal activity.